I'm Jesus Christ.
And I'm Judas.
Yeah, there you go.
I
Nobody
ain't
knows
kissing
what
you though.
nobody knows what we're talking about because I didn't push record 2 seconds earlier. Anyways, I'm actually Eric Paul Johnson. Don't be fooled by the
And
beard
I'm
and the
Eric
hair.
Wincentsen,
Yeah,
even though he's looking kind of hippie-ish. Yeah.
yeah. Well, yeah, always have. Um, I looked more when this wasn't so gray though.
Yeah.
Well,
But no, and just like Judas, I tend to hang around. Anyway, read
it's
your Bible.
I tried. I tried once and I just couldn't make it through because I got so bored. Um,
Yeah. The good thing is that none of the preachers have spoiled anything for you.
that's good. There's no taint on the religion. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
because pretty much anything they say isn't in there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we were up to 190 something subscribers, which we've probably just lost a couple of them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they probably think YouTube is for sinners anyway, and they just took their kids' YouTube privileges away. So
Well, yeah, I do that too, mostly because Madeline watches a lot of crap that involves someone screaming every 15 seconds. Uh, FGTV is, I want to kill that guy. Besides being obnoxious and loud, he's playing video games, and every time something happens, he lets out a girly scream, which is kind of funny once, but when it happens every 15 seconds, it gets old really fast.
I can see how.
Hmm. See, Cookie Swirl C, she's got an annoying, perky, squeaky voice that needs to go. Um, so yeah.
Uh,
Anyways, we don't really do a lot of screaming here.
nope.
Sometimes, but when you space it out, it's much more funnier. So,
I'm about to scream at that grammar.
um, so you do this stuff to get it out of the way. The Patreon down there in the video information. Give us money. You know, if we get enough Patreons, if we get enough money coming in by June, we'll continue the podcast into Idle Race, Move, Violinski, all that other stuff. Um, PayPal, E.L.O. FTM pod@gmail.com. I think. Again, it's all down there. And if you don't trust the internet, you want to send us a check, money order, huge Lego sets, there's right down there is the PO box address with everything spelled right, so you don't have to worry, or you don't have to wonder, well, how do I spell Wincentsen or Tempe? Is it Timpy? So it's all right
No, it's
underneath there.
over there, as well as a subscribe button and a bell for notifications so you know when we actually put out a new Zoomcast.
That's right. Oh, that's right. Subscribe is down
That's
over
all down there too.
somewhere, and the bell is up in the corner, I
Out
think.
there, I think.
I don't know. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, we did get some new subscribers. At least YouTube let me know about these ones. Feifei0714, Tristan Withoft. I think there's an umlaut over the O in Withoff.
Okay.
Peter Wipich, James Duncan Jr. So I need to be more prepared for grabbing my fun time widgets. Grabbing my fun time widgets there.
No, I don't want you grabbing your fun time widgets while we're doing the Zoomcast.
But it's
Oh, okay.
those time fun widgets, not, this fun time widget
Nah.
right here.
Okay.
Yeah. Or did you mean this fun time widget down here?
Well, I see how far you're grabbing, so I know that's not anything that I have to worry about.
Well, the wife may say different. She wouldn't, though, because she. Anyway, we get a couple of comments here. Somebody wrote something about all right, and usually we don't do those. If the song, that the comment that comes in is like way in the past, Usually don't really take care of it. Just kind of let it lie there. But I think this time uh, there's something to be said for all right.
And Cosmo Kramer says, "Wow, I'm really surprised neither of you fellas like this track. I love it." Well, let me clarify that. I love it not in the way I love classics like Evil Woman, Can't Get It Out of My Head, and Tightrope, but for anything Jeff did post Discovery, either solo or as E.L.O., this is a top 10 track for me. And now that I'm thinking about it further, very likely top 5. And I have no sentimental association with it. The song doesn't remind me of some hot ex-girlfriend from the early 2000s. No, it's just a damn good song. I love it the way I love the Van Hagar song, Dreams. It's not a Van Halen song to me, but it still sounds great in its own right. And yeah, that's actually one of the songs with Hagar on it that I like.
I can't bring dreams to my mind. I liked Why Can't This Be Love? I liked Message in a Bottle. Feels so good. What was it? I don't know. I know he sings I send a message in a bottle or something like that, and it's not the Police song.
Right.
Um, but mostly I'm more of a Van Halen person than a Van Hagar person, I think. I can understand why I wouldn't want to work with David Lee Roth either. After a while, he would really, as an introvert, he would drive me out of my mind. But when you're leading a good time hard rock and party kind of band, I think David Lee Roth is your guy. But I suppose when you start growing up and maybe you're not 12 or 13 anymore, I can see why you would bring Sammy Hagar into your band and then
Yeah,
just stay at 18 forever.
yeah. Well, Sammy Hagar is kind of a good time extrovert as well. Remember, he's got that bar that he's had down there in Mexico forever and has that whole red rocker persona about him and everything. But he also likes to do more commercial music.
Yeah.
And what Eddie and his brother saw in their eyes were more dollar signs.
Yeah.
And I think other than some coke occasionally, that's really the only thing that ever motivated him. Other than his music, once he decided he didn't want to play guitar much anymore, then I think money is the only thing that was on his mind.
Yeah. I
But
mean,
I hate to speak ill of those who have passed away, but he was not a nice guy one way whatsoever. So
no, he wasn't. He's a friggin' genius on the guitar, but yeah, I haven't heard nice things said about him. And yeah, certainly Sammy Hagar is no introspected introvert. Um, I think maybe David Lee Roth is more like the 15-year-old party guy who just stayed that way, and maybe Sammy Hagar is like the college party guy.
yeah, that's kind of a way they're stage personas, I should say.
Well, yes, yeah.
Yeah. Um, which in real life, Roth spent a good portion of his time in the 90s and 2000s, I think, as a paramedic.
That's right. I
Yeah.
remember you telling me about that. It's like, that's a reality show. That's what I want to see. I want to see David Lee Roth, paramedic, and people are just, uh, uh, David Lee Roth? No, I need a doctor. Not, no, it's good. I got it. Just hold on. Here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Clear!
Yeah.
Yeah! So, yeah.
I can't reach the ladder. Well, then you might as well.
Yes. See,
Thanks, David Lee.
Thanks, David Lee. You saved my life. Yeah.
But no, from my understanding, he was actually pretty darn good at it. But no, Hagar
Well,
was fired for the same reason that David Lee Roth was.
just couldn't get along.
Eddie thought so.
Yeah. I don't know.
Eh,
I've heard from Sammy that he wasn't fired. Of course, Sammy's probably going to say this story. I wasn't fired. I left because I'd had enough. And of course, Eddie's going to say, "No, I fired him." So, well,
No, they decided they wanted to do they wanted to do a song with Eddie, and not with it, with David Lee
David,
Roth, and because once again money, and so out went Hagar, and in came David for a song or two,
yeah,
and out went David, and in came the guy from Extreme,
for a song or
which,
two. Yeah,
yeah, for one album,
yeah,
which is considered the worst album they ever did,
mm,
because basically they wanted him to be Hagar and he wasn't Hagar.
no,
And then they brought back David Lee Roth for one album, and then that's going to be all she wrote, because unfortunately the entire point of the band is no longer with us. So
yeah, he smoked way too much, and that'll do it to you.
yeah,
All right, back to our ELO podcast Zoomcast thing here.
exactly.
G. Brewer came in with a late comment about "On My Mind." Um, sorry, need to have Bob here. I really loved "On My Mind" too. I also agree with Eric and Eric that this song deserved better than to be relegated to obscurity. Yeah, Jeff really needs to make that song available to the world through a nice, clean streaming, not just somebody ripping it from the CD and putting it on YouTube, because I had trouble finding a copy that was decent enough to use for the show, because one was too distorted and one was too quiet. And so I was like, well, this one will have to do. So, Drum Dreams, On My Mind. These need to be available worldwide, um, not just ripped from a CD or vinyl imported, onto a computer. Um, Comments for
Bonus tracks.
Alone in the Universe bonus tracks. I couldn't think of the first thing I got. Well, I got a couple of things that are blocking my mind. It's like, oh, I assigned that to myself after reading a comment. It should have been Eric, but we'll go ahead anyways, because honestly, it really doesn't matter, the reading order. And then I was stuck on the album title, because up here I got on my notes Uni bonus, and I'm just, what was
What's a unibonus?
what was the album? Oh yeah, Across the Universe.
Alone in the
Alone of
Universe.
You. I keep doing that. It's like an interview that we recently did with Martin Quibble that will air on his podcast, Pods Like Us, I believe it's called. And for an hour and a half, me and Eric and Martin, we talked E.L.O. and podcast stuff. So that'll come out on March 20th. So check it out.
Ah, okay.
Yep. I think. I didn't. He sent me a message when the date was. I still haven't opened it yet. I just saw like in the teaser header, March 20th. So that's probably when. Mike Hudson. Here's my take on a running order merging what I consider to be the best of the last two albums. When I Was a Boy, Time of Our Life, On My Mind, Sci-Fi Woman, Help Yourself, One Step at a Time, Blue, Losing You, One More Time, Alone in the Universe. And all this is going with the standard 10-song album. Could squeeze a couple more or on there easily. And a nice weird intro and outro would be a good touch too. That will come up a little bit later.
Yeah. And Rob Evans says, I liked Eric's reordering of the album to include bonus tracks. It did not go unnoticed that the running time of the rehash came in at 8 minutes, 40 seconds, just like the actual album.
He's making a little joke that
Yeah, I wish that Alone in the Universe felt like 8 minutes and 40 seconds listening to it. In fact, even your reordering felt more than 8 minutes and 40 seconds.
Yeah, I didn't even know it was 8 minutes 40 seconds until Rob took out a stopwatch. So I thank you for keeping the time. I just strung it together in the order that I thought it should have gone in. Um, yeah, it's he's making a joke there about how short the album is. Which, maybe thank you for that. Because it is a mediocre album. Do we really need a mediocre album to go on for longer than 30 minutes?
Well, some bands think they should go on for 75.
Yeah, and some people who are putting together special editions of old albums, now that there is no track limit anymore, will release a remaster or re-release album with 100 tracks, 150. I know the White Album. I think there was a John Lennon album that came out that included like 100 tracks, and a lot of it is rehearsals of songs that finally made it to the album. And a lot of those rehearsals kind of pretty much sound like the other rehearsals. So, I mean, I don't know why you need take 37 of Rocky Raccoon if it sounds pretty much like take 36, 35, 34, 38, 40, and on. But, I don't know. There are some fans who really probably way too into it and just think that they need everything, even if each take sounds only slightly different than the one before it.
I think it's also so John Lennon's estate or whoever owns the music now gets the money instead of the bootlegger.
Well, yeah, I guess that's yeah, that's got to be why.
Yeah,
Yeah, because
it's
I
an
guess
anti-bootlegging thing.
yeah, I can see that because I don't think Apple can say, "Hey, don't put that unreleased track that we don't own out there on the internet." So they can put it on an album and say, "There, now we own it. Stop it."
And it usually sounds better than the bootleg version.
Well, yes, I mean there's that,
Yeah.
but when they each take sounds pretty much the same. I mean,
True.
I love the Beatles, but I don't need 20 different takes of why don't we do it in the road? We get it. It's, yeah.
You Know My Name, take 93.
Once is enough. And there was a reason why it was a B-side.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, Mike Hudson. Someone needs to inform Jeff that it's okay to have a few songs on the album that are 4 minutes or longer. And I wish he'd bring back the cool intros and outros to his albums. I got spoiled by El Dorado, Face the Music, A New World Record, Discovery, Time, and Secret Messages. And even the intro to Turn to Stone kinda counts. And with that flanging bit as the song fades in. Also, on the third day, they have an intro. At least side one has an intro and an outro. And yeah, bring those back. That's another reason why I loved E.L.O. They weren't just, well, here's 10 songs and we're starting now. They actually had some sort of weird intro and outro that seemed to like bring the whole album together in one contained package, and it was like you're going to have a show here. You're not just going to be listening to 10 songs that I banged out. You know, here they are. There was like, okay, thank you. Here's our introduction, and now we're going to get into the music. There was cool weird bits in between songs, songs connected with each other in some ways. There were interludes. It made it much more interesting to listen to than, hi, I made 10 songs. You want to hear them? Oh, yeah. Bring back the intros and interludes.
MJ says, one of the main benefits I have found through this podcast is that it has allowed me to rethink my opinions on certain albums and certain tracks. This is particularly so for latter day E.L.O, and for the most part, my opinion has gone up, mainly because of lyrical content I now appreciate much more. In the case of this album, for the first time, that trend has gone into reverse. The fact I hardly play it should be a clue. Going through it with the Erics and the wider Blue World community on here has only restated for me what an underwhelming experience this album was. Only the first and two last tracks would be on a playlist of mine. And yes, there are snippets elsewhere. For me, it's a 2 out of 5 star experience. The EPJ remix album would score a little better, but I feel these improved tracks would fit the album less well. If you take my opinion on board, you may wonder why such clearly better albums, such as Three Light Years, as the Three Light Years collection, failed to make the UK album charts on original release, and yet this one did, emphatically. I guess that was what is called capturing the zeitgeist, and Jeff has certainly done that in more recent times. For his 70s and 80s work, at least, it is very well deserved.
Yeah.
Zeitgeist, in case you're wondering, means spirit of the time.
Yes.
Okay. Translating for Eric Paul.
Oh, I got it.
On the head.
I got to, that's a big
Yeah.
word that I do know. Yes.
Okay. So I didn't have to mansplain it to you. Good.
No, but tell me how women work again. You're very insightful about that.
On how women work, yeah. And in fact, what I would like to do is let a politician tell you, a male politician tell everybody, especially inform women about how their periods work. Yeah,
I think we're done here.
That'd be one less politician.
Maybe it's not a bad thing then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, at that point, that would be what he would be getting up in front of a mic and saying to his constituents. I think we're done here.
And the mob would agree.